What's going on, guys? Today we're making the Iron Man Infinity Gauntlet. This has definitely been one of my favorite builds of all time. You know, as soon as I saw Endgame, it was basically inevitable that I was going to make this. Wow, that joke sounded a lot better in my head.
This video will not be an in-depth tutorial on how to make this. Rather, I tried to make a compromise for both viewers who just want to watch for fun and for those who actually want to make it. So my hope is that this video is informative enough to sort of give some of you a general idea of how it's done, but still make it entertaining at the same time. First thing I did was work on the forearm piece. Now, the way I made this gauntlet was by separating it into three main sections. One for the forearm, which you see me working on right now, another for the back of my palm, and also one section for the fingers. Separating the gauntlet into sections like this will allow me to actually wear it and have it be mobile with articulating fingers and everything. Once the forearm piece was done, I glued on a glove to it like this, and then I started adding stuff to the back of my palm where all of the infinity stones will go. For the fingers, I bent some rectangular pieces of cardboard into like the shape of a staple, and for each of the fingers I scaled the pieces differently, except for the index and the ring finger, since those are pretty similar in size, but the rest I had to sort of adjust and fit it accordingly. I also added some super glue to the tips of all the fingers because those areas I found were sort of prone to peeling up, so doing this would make it a lot more durable, especially if you want to snap your fingers and stuff, if you know what I mean. And next I made the infinity stones. So the way I did it was pretty simple. There's probably a better way to do it. I mean, you could even add lights if you wanted, but what I did was I started with a base like this, and then I glued on a bunch of random pieces and then covered that with paper, and that made it look sort of like a crystal. And before I glued on the infinity stones, I decided to paint it. Now, I could have just left it like this if I wanted to, but this alone looks kind of cartoony and not very realistic. So to make it look just a little bit more believable, I weathered the whole thing by adding some watered down black paint, especially in the crevices and the grooves and the corners and whatnot. I also dry brushed some silver on like the high spots and any sort of sharp corners, anywhere where it would be exposed to like damage and stuff, and I did this to make it look more metallic. This whole weathering process makes a really big difference, I think, so if you are going to make this, I highly suggest that you take the time to do this. Definitely is worth it. And the last step, this is kind of optional, but I decided to spray the whole thing in some glossy clear coat.